Welcome once again to Buffs Primetime as we come to you as we do every Thursday night from 7 until 8 o'clock from Carelli's here in Boulder, talking Colorado basketball. Tad Boyle's with us here for the first couple of segments. JR Payne, they've got a nice quiet week. Had a game last weekend in Cincinnati. Now they get ready for K-State coming up on Saturday. So the head coach of the Buffs will be with us. And then our player guest tonight is Harrison Carrington, the sophomore out of Menlo Park, California. We'll talk with Tad about him and get to know him a little bit this evening. Buffs coming off the loss over the weekend to the Cougars at BYU, 83-67. And now sit at 9-9, 0-7 in Big 12 conference play. And the struggle is real, Coach.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
We are.
You doing all right?
We're in the midst of. I'm fine.
We can give you a big group hug here if you like. Everyone will come on up here. We can give you one.
I'll take whatever you got, Mark. We were just talking before we went on the air here about I've told our players not to feel sorry for themselves, and I've got to heed.
Have you been following your own advice?
No, I've not been. In the last 48 hours, I've not been heeding that advice, but I need to because the bottom line is, look. Hey, we are where we are, and there's a reason where we are, and we've got to continue to improve every day, and that's the message I have, to every one of our players, whether they're seniors or freshmen, doesn't matter. We got to just keep getting better. I think that's the most disappointing thing for me is, and again, you've been here since obviously when I got here, Mark. Mm-hmm. You've done Colorado basketball now for a long time, but I've always felt like our teams, for the most part, have gotten better as the year goes on. Mm-hmm. The disappointing thing about this year's team, for me, is the record's one thing. It's the fact that we have not gotten better from the middle of December to the middle of January, and that's troubling to me. And that's something I've got to try to fix. And the way you do that's in practice, and understanding that this league is very unforgiving. Mm-hmm. You've mentioned that before, and it's certainly the case. But let's look at the BYU game for example. The first 15 minutes of the game, we're playing our tails off. I mean,
it was a good college basketball.
They have 22 points, and we had really guarded. At the 10-minute mark of the first half, we were up 19-18. And we had 7 turnovers. We had missed a layup and gotten a 3-point shot block. So we had 9 possessions that were just atrocious. They don't get any better than missing layups or getting 3-point shots blocked or turning the ball over. And we're up 1. We're up 19-18. Like, if we are functioning like a normal college basketball team would, we're up 10 points minimum there. Right, because we got 9 possessions. We were shooting 75% from the field at that time. So even if we're shooting 50%, that's another, 4 baskets. We're up 9-10 points, and then we go on our 10-0 run. Right. Instead of being up 32-22, we beat up 42-22. Like, we're up 20, and now it's a totally different game, totally different animal. But we're not, and we're having to overcome so much, from an offensive inefficiency standpoint. And then now you go into halftime, and you come out of halftime, and BYU scores on their first 9 possessions of the second half. Right. And you score 2 points, and now you're down 23, and, you're playing catch-up. It's just like, so sometimes it's our defense that's failing us. Sometimes it's our offense that's failing us. We're just not – and we're good enough in stretches. We're just not good enough consistently in stretches, and it's problematic for this team. And so you just keep going back to the drawing board and trying to get better every day. And we tried some new things in practice today. I got to keep maybe trying to change the lineup, which we'll probably do on Saturday, and try to find a way.
The end of that first half, I think it was the last 6 minutes and 13 seconds, the Buffs did not have a field goal. You were up by 10. Yeah, we're up 5:44 to play. I think you're up by 10 at that point in time. So you go 6-13 without a field goal, 0 for 7 down the stretch.
Yeah.
You open up 0 for 9.
In the second half,
Plus, you're giving up, like I said, 9 straight buckets right there.
9 straight.
I think it was 0 for 16 in about 14 minutes. You didn't hit a field goal. So during that point in time, listen, we well know there are going to be streaks like that happen. Ball doesn't go in hoop. We understand that. But that's when I think some of your past teams would really crank down defensively.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And we're just not mentally tough enough yet to do that and engaged enough to do that. So, look, every college basketball team, I don't care who you are, they go on droughts. Mm-hmm. Now we go on droughts through, the desert, and then, the
Extended
valleys,
yeah,
and then they're like our droughts.
Wandering for 40 years in the desert. Yes, yeah.
And we were a little thirsty for a basket there.
Mm-hmm.
But my point is, like, the first 10 minutes of the game, we're shooting 75% from the field.
Yes.
So, like, our offense was there, but then it deserts us, and then and then it came back at the end. Like, it's just the lack of consistency that we just continue to have. That, until we figure that out, it's gonna, the results are not going to change. We have to change. And when I say we, I mean as coaches, as players, whatever it is we have to do, we have to change to get better. And right now, we're not doing that consistently. And I think that's the biggest. I can't imagine being a fan. And I apologized, as you know,
Yep.
first thing out of the gate, which I probably should have done a few weeks ago. But the people that are coming out supporting this team and this program, like, they deserve some kudos, because it's got to be frustrating for them. We had a fan behind our bench, and I never engage with fans. Literally, I never. I make it a
Good
point,
idea. Yep.
good or bad. Like,
Good idea, yeah.
And sometimes fans are really smart, and they may make some really good comments, and sometimes they're just
not so smart.
Not so smart.
Yep.
They make some asinine comments.
That's
but
right.
This fan, I thought, made a great comment midway through the second half the other night, and he said, Tad, we came out at 9 o'clock at night on a Tuesday to watch this.
Right.
And I really wanted to stand up and turn around and say,
God bless you. Thank you.
I feel you. I feel like, and I totally understand where you're coming from. So I want fans to know, I hear. I don't engage, but I hear, and I've got some other really good stories of comments from fans, but I'll keep those to myself. Maybe we'll talk about them off the air. But anyway, I just appreciate the ones that are coming out, because they're diehards, and it means a lot to our players. And look, I said this after the Oklahoma State game, Mark, and I really believe this. College athletic is about teaching young men lessons in life, and I've felt, I've won a lot in my life, and I've lost a lot in my life, and you learn so much more about yourself from losing than you do from winning. I hate going through it. I don't like it. I'm not a good loser, and nor do I want our players to be. But in the end, this might be a catalyst, especially for our young players. Our seniors, look, our seniors are seniors. Like, they're going to be gone. But at least our young players can look back on this and say, we never want to go through this again.
Right. Yeah.
And it hopefully can galvanize that group together. So, we'll see. We're going to keep fighting. Here's what I've kind of come to the realization. I'm just coming to work every day trying to help our guys get better, trying to stay as positive as I can without compromising the standards of our program.
Right.
And that's sometimes a fine balance that I've got to find as a head coach, because, certain things you can live with. I can live with, even though I hate turnovers, I can live with them because I know our guys aren't trying to turn over. I can live with missed free throws. I can live with missed layups. I can't live with guys who don't compete or don't play hard or don't, bring it every day and play with energy and passion. And for the most part, I think we've done that in stretches. Maybe a couple we haven't, but we can't compromise our standards, and we just got to keep, supporting these young men, because it's a tough time, and you learn a lot from tough times in your life.
I was just thinking, I know who sits behind the bench over there. I think you probably know who made that comment.
Yeah,
I got a good educated guess.
Well, I hope you do. I have no idea who it was, and I really don't care. But I just whoever it is, if they're listening, point well taken.
Yep. Sometimes you just got to go. Yep, you're right. I agree with you.
No question.
Hey, you made a comment on our pregame show the other day that I thought was worth kind of revisiting. So Tad and I are talking in his office beforehand, as we do every game, and you talked about there are negative plays and negative mistakes, and then there are plays where you don't make the positive play.
Yes.
And that actually is I'd like to expand upon kind of what you
said.
So
obviously turnovers are an issue with us, and we've got two players, Sebastian Ranchik and our guy from Washington State.
Andre
Yakumovsky.
Yeah.
Those two guys are doing a really, really good job of not turning the ball over.
Yes.
Okay. But, as I watch film, and that's why film teaches you so much as a coach, and it should as a player too, but, like, what film teaches you is that, like, and Oklahoma State was a good example, like, we had opportunities to make a play, being a pass to an open teammate, that because we talk about this as a staff, some of my staff says, well, Coach, turnovers are such an issue with our team, some guys are afraid to turn it over. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I understand that, but when you're afraid to turn it over and there's a play that needs to be made, you got to be able to make that play. Mm-hmm. And we got some guys that aren't making that play because they're afraid to turn it over. And they're not turning it over, but they're not making the play that needs to be made.
Right.
And I always say basketball is a very simple game. Like there's 5 on for them, 5 on the court for them, 5 on the court for us. When we have the ball, we're trying to play advantage basketball, whether that's in transition, whether that's in a pick and roll, whether that's throwing the ball to the post and getting a double team. When there's 2 guys, whether we're driving the ball and help comes, when there's 2 guys on the ball, we've got to get the ball moved because now we're an advantage because now we have 4 guys to play against their 3. Yep. And you got to make those decisions quickly. Like they're not always scripted. You'd like to script everything in the game, but that's just not the way the game's played. So we've got some guys that plays are there to be made, but we're not making the plays. So it looks like, hey, that guy's not turning over. He's doing good. Well, that's true. But he's also got guys open that he's not making the pass to. Like Elijah Malone gets 1 shot against BYU.
Yes.
There's something wrong with our offense when he's getting 1 shot.
I sit next to a 6'9" post guy who frequently throughout the game is going, get it to him.
No question.
And you
no
talk
question.
about the ball being on time on target.
On time
right?
on target. And we're not getting that done. So sometimes the opponent says, okay, we're not going to let Elijah Malone do that, and they're going to double team him. Well, BYU wasn't. If they do that, great. We got 2 on Elijah. He's got to pass it out, and we're playing 4 on 3.
Yeah. Like
it's very simple. But when they're playing 1-on-1 in a post and we're not getting the ball in the post, like we're missing the mark. As a team, and we've got sets we call, but like it's got to be more than a scripted set, like because people can guard plays. It's hard to guard when the ball is moving and the offense is flowing, and right now. At times it does, but there's a lot of times it doesn't, and that's one of our problems.
Yeah, it's a little sticky out there at times. It's Buffs Prime Time. We'll go ahead and take our first time out. More with Tad Boyle after a quick break. We've got Harrison Carrington coming up. Also, JR Payne is going to join us as well. We'll go ahead and take a break here. Live at Carelli's Thursday nights from 7 until 8 o'clock. Come on out and join us. Have some great Italian food and join us for some great bus talk on Thursdays from 7 until 8. Back in a moment. This is Colorado basketball from Learfield. University of Colorado basketball is brought to us by Modelo. A reward for those with the fighting spirit. Modelo, brewed for full-time Buffs fans. We're here at Carelli's tonight. Out here from 7 till 8 o'clock on Thursday nights for Buffs Primetime. Tad Boyle, one more segment still to come. JR Payne, and then Harrison Carrington for the men's team, the sophomore out of California. And the men getting ready to head off down tomorrow down to Tucson. They'll take on the Arizona Wildcats at 1 o'clock Mountain Time on Saturday. Scott and I are going to hit the air at 12:30 with the Buffs warm-up pregame show. Hey, before we talk a little bit about this Wildcats team, you guys announced today the men's basketball Wall of Honor.
Yeah.
Tell us what this is all about.
Well, you know, Mark, I just feel like every arena you go into in college basketball that has, you know, you either feel the tradition, you feel the history, or you don't.
Right.
And there's a lot of arenas I go into that I feel it. And sometimes you're standing there before practice or after practice, and you're looking up, and certainly there's banners, and there's, you know, teams that are honored, and Elite Eights and Final Fours, and men's and women's, that sort of thing. But there's no, like, history about the players. And you know, we have the Hall of Fame, and I know you MC that event.
Right.
It's a great event every year.
Yep.
And to me, the Hall of Fame at CU is based on your career at CU, you know, and what you did while you were here in your 4 years. And certainly that's a tremendous honor, and there's a lot of guys that are in that are men's basketball players, and some future ones that will be going into that. But, you know, when you walk into the arena, there's not much of a, like, who played here? Like, who
Sure.
do you recognize, you know? And so we said, you know, let's and you see it in Folsom Field, you know, and
with the numbers,
with the numbers and the names, and I said, let's try to do something that, you know, for men's basketball. So, you know, I came up with the idea, and then we had to come up with a criteria. And I said, you know, the Hall of Fame's one thing, but, you know, the Wall of Honor, let's honor the guys that use CU as a platform to unbelievable success after CU.
Okay.
And so 5 years in the NBA and/or a gold medal was kind of the criteria that we came up with, and there's 10 guys that met that. And that's a great place to start. And, you know, because sometimes when you do that stuff, you know, you get to that point like, well, who deserves it, who doesn't.
Then the arguments start.
It's the arguments start. And I don't want you know, so I wanted to be like, I don't want the arguments to start. So, and they're all very, very well-known players. But let's use Derek White as an example.
Yeah.
Okay, Derek White, you know, was at CU for 2 years. He only played for 1 year. He practiced for 1 year. You know, he didn't play in an NCAA tournament. Does Derek White deserve to be in the Hall of Fame? Based on what he did at CU, probably not.
Probably not, yeah.
But does he deserve to be honored about CU on how he used the CU platform to become a
NBA
gold medalist,
champion, gold medal
NBA
winner?
champion?
Yeah.
Like, absolutely. So, like, that's why, like, this Wall of Honor is for the guys that have used CU as a platform to be very, very successful in basketball at the professional level or at the Olympic level. And so that's, you know, that's kind of the impetus for it. And some of them are Hall of Famers, and some of them may not. I don't know if Derek will be in the Hall of Fame or not. If he is, it's because of what he did after CU, you know. And so I mean, obviously the names are pretty recognizable.
By the way, last time I ran into Derek at a football game, I said, "Boy, you've had a good 12 months."
Oh,
think
God.
about what he just went through, right?
No, I called 2024 the year of Derek White.
Oh, my goodness.
I
He
mean,
wins
God.
an NBA championship.
Yeah.
He wins a gold medal in the Olympics, and he got a huge contract.
And he had a second son.
And that's right, yes. And his second
You know,
child. And the
so-
thing about it is, anybody who's ever spent any time around Derek, he is the most just decent, down-to-earth, unpretentious human being in the world.
Humble.
He kind of smiles. He goes, "Yeah, it was pretty good."
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like, Derek, look what you just did.
Yeah, it doesn't
right?
get any better.
But
and he is the most humble.
Oh,
that's
he's
the
fantastic.
humility that he has.
He's fantastic.
Yeah.
And you know what it is with him? Because he was not a star player early.
There's no question.
And
no,
so
there's no entitlement.
No.
There's no, like, I deserve this and people need to bow at my feet. Like, he's genuinely humble. There's not, some people are fake humble.
Yes. Yeah.
He's genuinely humble.
Why did you point at me when you said that, by the way?
Did I point at you?
You guys saw that, didn't you? You saw it. Well, no, Derek's like Forrest Gump, for goodness sakes.
no
I mean,
question.
It just keeps coming for him.
No
I mean, it's
question.
just.
No, that's right.
But here are the 10 names that are on there. Chauncey Billups, that's a gimme,
Obviously,
right? You know that one.
right.
That's a layup right there. Alec Burks, phenomenal. Jim Davis, great player in the 60s. Spencer Dinwiddie,
Yep.
phenomenal NBA career so far. Bertie Halderson, I mean,
gold medalist.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
I mean, he was unbelievable back in the day. Even though it was back in the 50s, a lot of folks don't remember. Jay Humphreys, great player.
Yep.
Cliff Mealy, I've always said should go down as one of the greatest college players. Period.
No question.
That dude's numbers.
You look at his numbers, it's
ridiculous.
Yes, he's the best to ever play here, based on the numbers.
The late Cliff Mealy. I ever tell you the story? I had him do one ball game with me. We had a game where I needed somebody to call Cliff up, and he says, "Yeah." And so he comes out. He was great on the air.
Yeah.
And so he wasn't real comfortable doing interviews and that kind of thing. And so I said, well, Cliff, when we get to the post game, you can just kind of sit there when the coach comes out and this kind of deal. And I said, so you don't have to take part in this if you don't want to. I'll do that, and we'll just get a couple of comments from you. And so the coach comes walking out, sits down, and I ask the first question, and Cliff gets up, lays his headphones down, picks his bag up, and walks out of the arena. He was done.
He was done.
So I called later that night. I said, you could have stayed. Oh, I thought I could leave. That's all right. But, Cliff was phenomenal player. Andre Robertson is on the Hall of Honor. Scotty Wedman, who went on win. Did he win more than one?
I'm
trying to think. I know it was one for sure.
Remember. I know he was with the Celtics teams.
Yep,
but
71 to 74. So chances are he won multiple. And of course, Derek's with the Celtics now, and he's so that's awesome. So when's kind of the
we're trying to do it. I wanted to do it all this year, but the NBA guys are hard. Like Derek, he might be in the All-Star game. Like who?
Yep.
So we're doing Cliff, Jim Davis, and Bertie Halderson on next Tuesday, Arizona State.
Nice.
We'll honor them.
Nice.
They're no longer with us.
Yep.
And then Jay Humphreys is coming back for the Houston game, so that'll be Jay Humphreys night. And then, Scott Webman, I talked to him, had a great conversation. He's going to give us a date. So, like, sometimes over this year and next year, we'll get all 10.
Sure.
They're already up there. They're kind of blacked out. And but I want to do it right, where we bring them back and their families back and make it their night. And because again, those are such good. They're such good people, and they were great players. And we want to just make sure that they know that they're never going to be forgotten.
Yeah, that's great stuff.
Which is pretty cool.
Is Scott still living in Kansas City?
Kansas City, Scott Webman's still in Kansas City. Great guy.
I know every time when we were in the Big 12 and we'd play at Kansas, he was frequently there.
Absolutely.
For those games. Yeah. Wonderful player. Hey, before we let you go here, Arizona, you got them coming up. Give us a quick comment or two about Arizona.
Arizona's really talented, very athletic. They play in transition. We've got to we got to make sure we do not let them get out and get their crowd into the game, because they can blow that thing open pretty quick. But they're very, very talented, and Tommy Lloyd's a great coach.
Yeah. What's coming
up
at
Harrison Carrington? Can I say a
few
words
please,
about Harrison?
yes. I'm glad you said something.
Okay,
yes.
Because Harrison is a guy that came here a few years ago on the recommendation of his prep school coach, John Carroll, who I've known for years and years. Harrison was a West Coast kid growing up, Menlo Park, went east to play in prep school, and his dad went to CU. He's a huge Buff fan, had a great experience here, and so Harrison, kind of followed in his footsteps. And when he got here, I'm like, man, this kid's pretty good. He's got a chance.
I remember you saying
better
that.
and better and better, and now here it is 3 years later, and obviously people on social media probably saw that he got a scholarship this fall. And I made a point to tell Harrison this, and I try to make it as much as I can. Like, a lot of people think, oh, we gave Harrison a scholarship, and I always have to correct him and say, no, we didn't give him a scholarship. He earned the scholarship by the way he's practiced and got in the weight room and just worked on his game, and he's in the rotation now, which, coming here as a walk-on, I make no promises, to any of them. And but I try to give him an opportunity, and he's taken it and he's run with it, and he's got 2 years of eligibility after this year, and he's had a great impact on our program.
I remember when I asked you about him, and you said that mark my words, by about his third season he'll start having an impact on his program. Yeah, I
mean, because he comes to work every day. He's an everyday guy. He plays hard. He competes, and so it's this year's team, like, you can throw a dart on a dartboard and make an argument for playing a guy or not playing a guy, but that's why we're playing so many, because nobody's really separated themselves. But he's right in the mix, because he brings it every day, and I've got a lot of confidence in him, and great young man and great family, he's what CU basketball is all about.
Love it. Well, we're going to chat with him here shortly. Also, JR Payne is not here right now, but we're expecting her to show up. So if she's not here by the time we get back from the commercial break, guess who's on? Harrison Carrington is going to jump on. And who knows? If Coach has a problem, Harrison, you're doing 2 segments. So get ready.
Right.
We got all sorts of stuff we're going to talk with Harrison about and get some women's basketball. All right, Coach, good luck this weekend.
Okay, thanks, Mark.
All right, that's head coach Tad Boyle. He and the Buffaloes have got the Wildcats of Arizona down in Tucson on Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock. We're here at Carelli's for Buffs Primetime. Back in a moment. This is Colorado basketball from their field. He was at Athletic, huh? That's Harrison Carrington here a couple games ago. Back in Buffs Primetime here at Carelli's. Our program brought to us by Molson Coors, Coors Light, Choose Chill, proud partner of Colorado Athletics, Buffs in Arizona. And we just reached out to JR Payne. We'll see. There might have been an issue if she's going to show up. But anyway, Harrison is here. So let's welcome the sophomore from or you're a junior academically right now. Yeah, sophomore on the court, though, out of Menlo Park, California. How are you?
Good, great. Happy to be here.
Yeah,
thank you for having me.
Good. Did you get a good meal?
Yes, I did.
All right. You got a box up to take back. Mm-hmm. Who do you live with, by the way? Who's your roommate?
I'm living with Javon Ruffin, Julian Hammond, and Jack Pease.
All right. Mm-hmm. That's a pretty good group of guys right there.
Yeah, no, we have a good time.
High intellectual conversations as you're sitting around the living room with those guys? Yeah?
Always.
Who's the most talkative guy in that group? Who's the one that kind of leads the conversations?
I mean, honestly, everyone's talkative. We're all super comfortable with each other, so whenever we're around, we're all just talking.
Now Jack Pease, he looks like he's a problem. That guy's a troublemaker, isn't he?
No,
is he a pretty good guy?
No, he's a great guy. Yeah, he has a girlfriend, so he's been hanging out with her a bunch. So he's been mellow. Yeah.
Who's the best student out of that group?
I don't know. I'm not sure on the GPAs. I don't know. Maybe me or Jack. Maybe.
Okay. All right.
I think Julian had a good last semester.
Yeah.
So.
Julian's a quarterback, so he's got to be the leader of the group.
Exactly,
Is that probably the case? Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah.
How did you end up here in Colorado? I mean, Tad was saying that your dad went to see you. And so was it just a foregone conclusion or what?
No, I mean, obviously my dad coming here had some influence as well, but just really the coaching staff, like just talking to them on the phone, they were super happy and happy to give me the opportunity, and I was really excited about that.
Where is Menlo Park, California? Where's that at?
So it's probably, I mean, it's like 5 minutes from Stanford University.
Okay.
It's like south of San Francisco, so
Beautiful
35
area.
minutes. Yeah, it's very nice.
Just a beautiful area. Yeah. Tell us about your high school career.
It was good. I mean, I went to Sacred Heart Prep, like 3 minutes away from me, and we were a pretty small school. We weren't really known for basketball. Didn't really have any guys come out of Sacred Heart and do things beyond college or in college really. Yeah. So yeah, going there as a small school and wasn't really playing against the like top California competition as there is in California. So yeah, going to prep school, going to Northfield Mount Herman in Massachusetts and playing under Coach John Carroll was super helpful for me in my development as well.
Well, going all the way across the country like that to a prep school, I mean, that's a big jump for, what were you, 17 at the time?
Yeah,
16,
no, yeah. Definitely a huge change in everything, scenery, people, weather. I mean, it was all different. So.
You go from a gorgeous spot out there to where it's cold and rainy and cloudy about 99% of the time.
Yeah, I think when I got there, we had maybe 2 weeks of sun, and then the last 2 weeks of school there was sun. So the rest of the time was sweatpants and sweatshirts. So.
Did you would have had other opportunities? So did you think about going someplace else?
Yeah, I did. I mean, like. So in the East Coast, all those Division III, those like high academic schools, a bunch of those schools were very interested, and I was talking to them, as well as CU. Yeah. But yeah.
So why decide to walk on here?
Honestly, like I visited some of those Division III schools, and just as a school, I wanted more of like a college campus feel and a bigger school, and I really did like enjoy CU and coming to visit here in March.
All right.
That year.
You heard that highlight at the top there. I didn't know you had that in you. That's
a little bit.
You made a couple of athletic plays out there, man.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it. Yeah. I mean, working with Steve in the weight room, doing his kangaroo program as he calls it.
Right.
Jumping higher has been super helpful.
Take us inside the locker room right now. We're in a kind of a tough stretch here right now.
Yeah, I mean, right now, as from the players' perspective, we're just trying to we got to do whatever it takes to win, and so we know our problems. We know our turnovers are bad, our problem. Our rebounding's a problem, and executing plays we have to do better. And so, just talking as a team and really trying to figure out what we can do individually to turn things around, and as a team how we can improve, and really just comes down to whatever it takes.
What did it mean to you when Tad gave you a scholarship?
It meant everything. I mean, Coach Boyle made it clear, as he said earlier, about how I earned it. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, wasn't something I came in here like looking for or wanting to do. It's just really just taking it day by day and coming to practice and working hard and trying to be the best basketball player I could be.
Right. You've kind of earned yourself a position here the way you're playing. Well, how do you view your role now with this team?
I mean, I just view it as coming in in the game and providing some type of spark, whether it's defensively, offensively, and really just doing what the coaches say, of trying to rebound, defend, and run the floor hard. So,
tell us about your family. I met your mom before. I think we were out in California last year, maybe 2 years ago, and I met her at one point in time. Was Dad an athlete?
Was mom in high school, my mom was. She went to UConn, and she did track and field there.
Oh, okay. That's where it comes from then, all right?
Yeah, a little bit
You got brothers and sisters in too, or not?
I have an older brother who just was he did high school sports, but in college he went to Notre Dame, and he's now living in New York. And then I have a little brother who actually plays water polo. He was a senior or a junior in high school now.
You know, those guys are tough, man.
That's the sport I
If,
could not do it.
if anybody's ever watched it, that is a brutal sport. Those guys are nasty. They're horrible to each other.
Horrible. It's all under the water.
Yes,
you can't
so you
see
never
any
see
of
it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're treading water. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not touching the ground. It's physical exertion
You better
24/7.
just be careful what you say to your younger brother. 'Cause
I know.
he might kick your tail.
He's getting big. It's every time I come home now, he's that much taller and that much stronger. So it's funny to see.
That's so. Is Dad? I don't remember your mom being terribly tall.
Well, my mom's about like 5'11".
Oh, she is that tall. Okay.
And my dad's like 6'3".
Okay, so that's where it comes from. The two
Yeah.
brothers, are they big guys?
Yeah, my older brother's like 6'6", and
Okay.
my little brother's probably now 6'5", maybe.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
he's
right.
getting up there.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, water polo. That's not.
know.
You ever jumped in a pool with them and played around a little bit? Or?
No, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to.
Probably not. Hey, I tell you what, keep up the good work. I mean, you're a phenomenal story with this team. You're becoming a great part of the rotation. Just keep it up. And gosh dang it, let's go down and get a win on Saturday.
Yes, sir. No, that sounds
All right,
great.
let's hear it for Harrison Carrington. He's a junior academically, sophomore on the basketball court for the Buffaloes as they get set to take on the Arizona Wildcats on Saturday at 1 o'clock, 12:30 with the pregame on the network. JR's here. We're going to talk with the women's basketball coach. They've got a little space this weekend. Had a game last weekend. Don't play till Saturday with Kansas State coming to town, so we'll talk with her next. This is Colorado basketball from their field. Our buddy Corey Lopez, voice of the CU women's basketball program. A little highlight there. Buffs back home this weekend. They've got Kansas State coming up at 1 o'clock on Saturday. Colorado now sitting at 12-6 on the season, 3-4 in Big 12 conference play. Coming off, they dropped one at Cincinnati last weekend, 65-59 again in K-State. So here's JR Payne. Let's hear it for the coach of the Buffaloes. We've missed you. You've been traveling so much here lately.
We have been traveling. Yeah, this Big 12 schedule is a little bit crazy, and we've had a couple of very long road trips.
Yeah. They had that swing where they went West Virginia, Cincinnati. And so that's got a Pac-12 feel to it.
A little bit, yeah, with the 2 games on the road.
At least you get that,
I mean, Morgantown, West Virginia was a lot further than Tempe, Arizona, or wherever, the Bay or LA or whatever. So it was good. It was good, though.
When we look at your team, we just sat and talked to Tad for a while about turnovers. That's becoming an issue for you guys, isn't it?
Yes.
I think it was the West Virginia game, JR. I've got the stat monitor up as we're getting ready for our ball game, and I'm like, whoa.
What?
I mean, that thing. Did they put something in the bowl? They greased that thing up, or what happened?
Yeah, apparently. Well, I mean, and West Virginia is, I think, #1 in the country in forced turnovers.
Really?
Like, that is what they do.
Yeah.
But it was really frustrating because we already played them here once, and we still had maybe 17 or 18 turnovers. But for those guys, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
So, man, we just turned it over and over and over.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that's what they do, and they're really good at it. And we got frazzled, and then you know how it is when you turn somebody over, it's like blood in the water. And so then they start to frenzy, and we start to panic, and there weren't enough timeouts, available.
They get the pick six going the other direction and score.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
But, I mean, after the game, it was like, all right, well, because kind of Pac-12 schedule with another game coming up, it was like, all right, learn from it, reset, move forward. Like, there's no point in dwelling on this one. Just learn from it, and we got to move on quickly.
So how do you address that issue? I think you're averaging about 18 a game right now. So how do you address that issue with your team?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing we've done all week this week is every single drill that we do, there's only a certain amount of balls that they get for that drill. So say we're playing 10 minutes of half-court live, you get 4 balls, and once those 4 balls are out,
well, what happens then?
They run for whatever's left on the clock. So, I mean, we actually it's been better, and it's crazy because we had a really good practice tonight. But one drill we did, I mean, they had 4 balls, and man, they lost 3 of them in the first minute and a half, and it was like, okay, well, now you got to go 7 minutes with 1 ball left.
Right.
And they did.
Okay.
It was awesome. So, I mean, we clearly know how to take care of the ball. We can slow down a little bit, make good decisions. We always tell our players, if it's kind of sort of there, it's not there.
Yeah.
And so just kind of retraining our mind to make the solid play. And so that's been good for us this week. I don't know. Hopefully it translates.
As much as you coaches go back and analyze everything, are you finding they're physical mistakes? Are they mental mistakes? What do you find?
A little bit of both. I actually charted the last 50 turnovers, and a lot of them were travels. A lot of them were passes. Like I'm trying to pass over here and somebody shoots the gap and steals it, things like that. So, not a ton of mental, really more. We just kind of say pass and catch. Like these are just basic skill things that we got to keep improving.
But that becomes is that a mental sharpness, a concentration issue when you have some mistakes like that, passing and catching?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. We also are just playing some really good defensive teams. And so, like I said, I'd say it tongue-in-cheek, if it's kind of there, it's not there.
Right.
It needs to really be there, meaning they got to be really open to make the pass. But there's a lot of good things we're doing, too. Like, as coaches, we dwell on the turnovers. We're frustrated with that. But, I mean, we execute well. We're one of the best teams around executing out of timeouts. Like, when we're organized, we're really good. When we're not organized, it's just it's not good.
Your defense, you're holding teams under 40% shooting.
Yeah.
Are you where you want to be defensively?
Yeah, we're getting there. Yeah, I mean, we started the year just on fire, 85 points a game, giving up 75 points a game.
Right.
We've kind of flipped it a little bit where we're really, truly defending better. And so that's a really good thing. We just got to put it together. You got to defend, rebound, take care of the ball all in the same night.
Who's your best on-ball defender?
Kendall Wetta, by far, hands down. Nobody's even close.
Yeah, is that right?
Yeah. Well, that's not fair. Naimir Dew is also pretty good defensively.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
she's long. I mean, I don't know. We've never measured her wingspan, but it's very long.
Do you measure that in your players?
No, we don't usually, unless they want to.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity or whatever. But Kendall's been, just so good defensively for her entire career.
Yeah, she's always been outstanding.
Yeah.
When you go out, are you looking for that body type?
Like a Kindle?
Yeah, or not?
Long like that. Yeah, we love long, versatile, athletic players. So especially nowadays when you don't necessarily know who you're going to have or what you're going to get or things like that, we have to have the most versatile player possible. Ideally play 1 or 2 or 3 positions because you just don't know where you're going to need them.
But it's just in this day and age of college basketball, men's or women's, I mean, you can't teach length, right?
Right.
And when it's out there, man, it is problematic.
It is, yeah, it definitely can be. So we love to have that, not just in our post players, but in our perimeter players as well when we can.
Are you getting used to the Big 12?
I think the politically correct answer is yes. We are all in. We've got it locked up.
All of our coaches are the travel becomes very, very different.
Yeah, I mean, it's just new. Everything is so new. Every hotel, every restaurant, every gym, every flight, the distance, the time, who do you work with? Like, all of it is new. So, I mean, it's great. We're just adjusting. Every day we're in adjustment mode.
We've talked on the men's side. The style of basketball is very different in the Big 12. It's much more physical in this league. How about on the women's side?
I don't know. Every coach in the Pac-12 would say that we were always the most physical team in the conference.
Okay.
And so we like physical play. We I don't know, we're fouling too much though, so maybe we're too physical for this conference. We're putting them on the line far too much.
We got Kansas State coming up on Saturday. You guys are going to have split attention. The men play at 1, the women at 1 as well. Yeah. Let's hear it for JR Payne. Good luck on Saturday,
Thank you. Thanks.
So they take on the Kansas State Wildcats. Corey and Carol will have that broadcast on the network and many affiliates. You can dial it up on the Varsity Network app as well. And we'll be down in Tucson as the men will take on the Wildcats. 12:30 pregame, 1 o'clock with the tip-off. Thanks for